In today's video, we're going to be taking a look here at the tropics, also diving into that upcoming pattern where we do have a lot of storm systems moving across the nation and some big temperature changes on the way, as we do expect a big warm up, followed by one of the most intense Arctic blasts of the season so far, probably the most intense Arctic blast of the season. It's sure to bring 10 to 15 degrees, maybe even 20 degree below normal temperatures for a pretty extended amount of time here in the east. On top of that, we are going to be taking a long range look at the month by month forecast and actually diving into the winter time, so December and January timeframe, where we do have some signals that the polar vortex could be really making an appearance during that month and during the winter, to say the least. Definitely some concerning stuff and some interesting things we're going to be diving into. But before we do, be sure to check out Prestige Weather in the description and the pinned comment down below. It's only $5 a month, and we offer early access to all of our monthly and seasonal outlooks. That does include our third winter forecast that is on the way very, very soon. I have been working on that. I know I alluded to the fact that it could be done in a couple of days. It's going to take me a few more, but that will be out very soon over there, and it will be early access regardless. So we're going to release that early over there. We also do weekly consulting calls and other consulting services within our community, so be sure to check it out, again, in the description and the pinned comment down below. Let's take a look here at Tropical Storm Felipe, which is now our only tropical cyclone in the Atlantic at all, and this is as of 8 a.m. this morning. We do have 50 mile per hour sustained winds. This one's expected to move almost directly northward, eventually becoming a hurricane, although they've continued to kind of push that back. So I am a little bit doubtful, but nevertheless, it is expected to likely become a hurricane just to the east of Bermuda by about Friday morning time frame into Saturday. So we will be watching very, very closely for that as it just kind of continues northward. As we take a look at the overall Atlantic, as I just kind of mentioned, there is nothing else happening besides Felipe, so we're just going to glance at this and kind of just move past it. And as we take a look at the upcoming pattern, let's just take it towards this afternoon, and we do see this low here over Colorado causing heavier rainfall and snowfall depending on your elevation. That snowfall is going to be pretty exclusive for the highest elevations there in Wyoming, Colorado, and Utah there. Rainfall for almost everybody else. Let's just keep going towards Tuesday the 3rd, and what we end up seeing is a primary low at 998 down here, or up there, and then a secondary low down here as 1,003, and we see this kind of cold front moving down like this. We see this warm front here, and what we see is warm air kind of surging to the north here, where this warm front is, and then where that cold front is, we're going to see cold air diving in behind everything. So we see a lot of this type of activity happening. We do see snowfall here for a lot of the Rockies still, and especially now because that cold front has moved through. Deeper Arctic air has been able to dive southward, and this has allowed for some lower elevation areas to see some snowfall. Still not the super low areas, but the areas in the middle parts, if that makes sense. Not the tippy tops of the mountains, but, you know, getting further down the mountains there with some of that snowfall by the time we see more cold. In a couple of months from now, obviously, everybody's going to be seeing snowfall out west. Now, in between this barrier here, we do see that there is some thunderstorm activity. This is going to be for states like Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, South Dakota, Minnesota here. All of these areas dealing with some thunderstorm activity. For Wednesday, we end up seeing the same thing, so 1,003 here, 988 up here on that primary low, and this cold front is still stretching down like this. A lot of thunderstorm activity, but especially there for Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. We continue to see that thunderstorm activity prevailing. For Thursday, October 5th here, we still see this frontal boundary just right here, this cold front really taking over for a lot of the Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, and then the deeper south central United States. And what we also see at this time is a positive PNA trying to take over, and it is going to successfully take over as warmer air prevails here. And this forces the colder air southward to the east of this area. So that is going to be the main feature that we see. This Arctic blast is located right here, but it's moving south in a hurry, and that is going to move into the central and the eastern United States successfully here. So by Friday, what we see is that this is really, really taking place as the jet stream is now doing this. So we still see warmer air out ahead of that cold front for the East Coast, but there is cold air really quickly diving in, and it is going to take over, as I've mentioned. we still are likely seeing thunderstorms along that frontal boundary, so keep that in mind. Um, that is going to certainly be a factor moving forward. And what we see is that there's a lot of precipitation near this Arctic blast as well, and actually inside of it. And that is going to make things even colder because if you think about it, the sun would be able to kind of warm things up a little bit. But if we're seeing rain and clouds, it's going to only add to the cooler air that is in this Arctic blast. So, certainly a very, very interesting situation that we're seeing here. Now, let's go ahead and move this towards Saturday the 7th here. And what we end up seeing is that this frontal boundary is now right along the eastern seaboard, and we can actually see where it just continues to Mexico there. So we see cooler air moving in for a lot of these areas, all the way towards the eastern United States. Let's keep going, and as you can see, by the time we reach Sunday, this will be fully engaged in the eastern United States, and we will likely be seeing just a lot of cooler air all around here for the eastern states, and a very, very strong and very, very healthy positive PNA out west out there, which again is going to be the main driving factor in this cooler air in the eastern states. By Monday, we still see it right over the east, a lot quieter for a lot of the states, although we do have a storm system moving onshore to the northwest by this point. Tuesday, it's the same thing, pretty much just some scattered about pockets of rainfall and snowfall for some of the higher elevations. We get a second storm moving onshore to the northwest or the southwest of Canada there for Wednesday the 11th. Still likely seeing cooler air along the east. And that is the end of the model run. So we don't have much else to go based off of other than that. So we're going to be watching all of those situations for the northwest very, very closely. As we take a look at the total precipitation, no surprise that we do see above average precipitation for these areas. Same story in the south central where we get a lot of those potent thunderstorms. And then for a lot of southeastern Canada and northeastern United States, we do end up seeing above average precipitation. As that cold front moves through, we do see some nor'easter type storms start to develop and stronger storms overall in the eastern states. And this is going to really, really be a contributing factor to this above average precipitation. Let's go ahead and take a look at the temperature pattern, and you can see by the time we're taking a look at this frame now, it looks like a very, very strong negative PNA, and we're seeing the effects of this as we see very warm temperatures in a lot of the east and the central states. This is going to flip in a hurry, so it's interesting how quickly we flip out of that pattern. We start to see warmth building for the west by about Friday the 6th, Thursday the 5th, Friday the 6th time frame. We do see this warmth starting to build for the west, and by Saturday, Sunday time frame, we're going to see a very healthy positive PNA where there's just tons of warmth to go around all the way up and down the western seaboard there. And you can see that we already have this deep Arctic air engaged for the eastern states. So this is going to be a very, very healthy looking cool down. And as you can see all the way through the end of the model run here, which is going to be October 12th, we still have cooler temperatures around in the east. Although I will say right around this time is when we start to see colder temperatures beginning to kind of re-enter into the west. And this could push the warmth back into the east around this time frame, but only time will really be able to tell. As we take a look at this month-by-month outlook, this looks a little bit averaged out here for October, but we do see a couple of cooler areas like the west here and the southeast, and then warmth in the middle. We'll have to watch for that very closely. November time frame, we see a pretty clear negative PNA pattern, which would mean warmer temperatures for the east. Take this with a grain of salt, but certainly a possibility, as we do see this warmth prevailing as a result, again, of this negative PNA in the west. Let's keep going, and by the time we reach December, it's a lot of the same, although a lot of this cold is up in the Arctic areas, and this is a good thing, actually, for the wintertime, because this is going to be able to very easily blast down into the states here. And the more ice and snow we see as a result of this, the better for those deeper Arctic blasts. And I think that's exactly what this model is thinking, because by the time we reach January, you can see that this has allowed the floodgates to open and cooler air is now free flowing into the eastern United States straight from Canada. We see this warmth down here in the west, and that is going to be a positive PNA that allows for that cold to slide right over this area instead of heading into the west. It's, again, sliding around that positive PNA, and that's why we see the cold take aim here at the east. Very interesting, very intriguing, and something that we're going to need to watch extremely closely. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching this video. We do upload weather videos just like this one every single day, so be sure to subscribe for more daily videos just like this one. You can even hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload so you never miss one. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it, leave a comment down below, and I will see you guys in the next video.